Earlier in the day, the first witness to testify, a longtime pilot for 30 years for Jeffrey Epstein, finished his testimony, and on cross-examination, it really became clear that he's not a Epstein hater. He testified that all the time he flew those planes on about 1,000 flights, and he said he was free always during the flights to leave the cockpit and walk to the back of the plane to the bathroom back there. He said he never saw any sexual anything happening, and when he would clean up the plane afterwards, he never found used condoms or sex toys or anything that might be expected if there was sexual activity going on. Her name is Jane. It's not a real name, but in Manhattan federal court at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, she's the first woman of 4 who are going to testify that they were sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell from 1994 to 2004, when they were less than 18 years of age. The woman who's identified in court as Jane is actually a TV actress who has been acting for 22 years, says she wants to remain anonymous so that she doesn't lose jobs where people look at her and only identify her as a victim of the Jeffrey Epstein saga. So she took the witness stand very dramatically today. She's only the second witness, but like I said, the first woman who's one of the 4 accusers that really make up the heart of the indictment against Ghislaine Maxwell, accusing her of grooming and helping recruit these young teenagers to be sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein, who in the early days, back in the early 90s, Ghislaine Maxwell was his girlfriend, and she later became a friend and an employee, and they were no longer romantically involved, but stayed close to him for decades. Ghislaine looked at her, from the very start and just kind of looked toward her. No real expressions. She did seem to breathe a little heavier when the testimony began, but otherwise kept her face kind of trained toward the witness stand. The jurors, too, were looking largely at Jane, as well as occasionally looking over at Ghislaine Maxwell, perhaps to see what her reaction is. If they were looking for a reaction, they would not have seen much.